Hey there, I'm your host Lasoe, and this is episode 8 of the inventory series. In the last episode, we created the containers and the container animation, and in today's video, we'll focus on the item slider. And with that said, let's begin. Let's begin by creating our slider widget. So let's go into the inventory system, UI, right-click, user widget once again, WB underscore item slider. And let's open this up. Inside, we want to grab a canvas panel. And on top of this, we'll add a border. Now this border, I'll set to 300 on the X and 100 on the Y. For the color, I have mine saved here on the side. Copy that and paste it into the brush color. And we can also keep it here for safekeeping. Let's zoom in and let's also add a second border to this with a padding of 4 on overall. And I will also add my second border color to the brush. Paste that in there. There we go. Looking pretty nice. Next, I want a horizontal box, which I can put in here. And on top of this, I want to get an overlay. And this overlay is going to house the slider. So let's get the slider, put it in, make it full, thin line. And before I begin, this overlay should be filled. Slider, back here, we want to give it a padding of 10 for everything except the bottom will be set to 18. And for the bar, let's make it black. And for the slider handle color, I have mine saved here. So I'll take it and put it in the hex. And let's save it there. So that's already starting to look good. Now I could also use a text at the very top. So let's drag that in there into the overlay. For the padding, I'll say 15. We'll have it in the middle, or no, there, in the middle here. And let's do text, let's say 10, just to see how it looks like. And I'm pretty happy with this. So let's also make it variable, txt. This will be the item 1 to t. There we go. Lastly, we need some buttons. So I'll grab myself a horizontal box, put it in the overlay, and do a horizontal fill, bottom align. And if I look for buttons, I should be able to put that in there. Let's do a copy. So we have 2 of them. First one will name button cancel. And the second one will name button underscore drop. Select both of these. Do fill, horizontal fill, bottom align. And for the first padding, the button on the left, what we can do is left will be 20. This will be 5. This we can set to 10. And this we can also set to 5. For the drop button, we'll do 10, 5, 20, and 5. Now, lastly, we can add some text in the first one, and this will be also a padding of 15. And let's say cancel. Let's duplicate this, paste it in the other one. It won't let me. Now it will. And let's do drop. And the cancel does not have to be variable, but the drop button we do. So is variable txt underscore item, or not text. Yeah, it is a text. So text underscore drop. And there we go. We can also add some color to our buttons. So I have mine saved over here. And I'll select both of these on normal. I'll plug this into here. And I'll have also a color on hovered and pressed, which I have saved over on this side. And I'll put them in as well. That's under tint. Okay. So save that. And if I select my second one, select that. And there we go. That's our slider created. So let's compile and save. Next, let's head over to our item prompt widget. And inside, whenever we press the drop button, we want our slider to pop up on the screen. So let's do create widget. We'll get our item slider. We can promote to variable, but use it later. WB underscore item slider. And let's do add to viewport. Now here are also values I want to pass in, like the index and the inventory component. So let's go back into the event graph, get ourselves the inventory component. And this is a BPC underscore inventory object reference, instance editable, expose on spawn. And let's get the index, which is a integer, also instance editable and expose on spawn. Compile and save that. And now in here, if we refresh this, we should be able to pass in the index, and we should be also able to pass in the inventory component. And there we go. Compile and save. And let's give this a quick test. So if I run my game, log this to drop, we get our slider. It's all the way at the top and we can't really make it go away. So let's fix that. We can close the item prompt for now. And in our item slider, we can get rid of event tick and pre-construct as well. Everything happens on construct. So when we construct it, I want access to the first border. Let's make this variable border item slider. And in here, I want to grab that and do slot as canvas, canvas slot, and we'll do set position. Very similar like we did with our item prompt. And here, let's just get the get mouse position on viewport. So wherever the mouse is, that's where this widget will be created. And compile and save that. And let's see how this looks. So if I pick something up, right click and drop, there we are. We get our drop button. Now it does not disappear. So let's do mouse leave on mouse leave event. And we'll remove from viewport. So whenever our mouse gets outside this box, the item slider should disappear. Drop, and I go here, it's gone, drop, and it's gone. So that's all working nice. Next, let's go back into our item slider. So open this up and let's create a function called get item quantity. In here, I'll grab my inventory component. I'll do get slots and I'll do get a copy, and we have our index very handy. We're passing that in from our item prompt. Let's do a break. Let's do a return node on that. And we're interested in the item quantity. Everything else can be hidden. And let's click on this, make it a pure function. And next, we're interested in the slider and the slider values. So in the designer, we can set the minimum value to be 1. The value, leave at 0, don't change that. And the max value you can change if you want. It's going to get overridden anyway, but let's set it to 10 since that's our max stack size. And in here, I'll do a custom event saying set slider value. So let's get our slider and do a set value. And the value we'll set this to will be our item quantity. So let's get that. We have it very handy. Plug it in there and it'll convert it into a float. We can also set the max value like so. Plugging that in there, and let's reroute to make it look better. Like so, and like so. And the next one will be custom event called set slider text. And let's get our text and do set text. And what we'll do is we'll grab our item quantity function, plug it in there. And that's all we need to do to have this working. And the very last one, we'll do custom event. And we'll do set, or actually not even a custom event. We want to click on this slider and do on value changed. So whenever the value is changed, we want to update it. From this value, we'll do a truncate. And I want to promote this to a variable called the item quantity. Let's connect it there, and we'll also update the text. So let's grab our text again with the stuff in here. And if we connect this value in there, it should be good. So let's bring this a little closer and comment our code. So we know this is set slider values. And we want to add these to our event construct. So we have them here on our set slider value, set slider text, and on value changed. We have it there. And that's perfect. Next, let's compile and save and head over to our Blueprint component inventory. And we want to create a new function called remove from inventory. Inside, we want to get the index we're removing. So let's get that, which is a integer. And we also want to know the quantity we're removing. So drop quantity. And let's get the item slots, do a get a copy of our index there, and we'll promote both the item ID and the item quantity to a local variable. Local underscore item ID, like so. And let's do it the same with this one. Local underscore item quantity. And like we did before with our other functions, we'll have a sequence on one updating our inventory and playing the sound effects. So with our remove from inventory function, we will get update inventory, and we only need to update our own inventory. And as for the sound effect, we'll actually play that when the item drops. So let's do a check. Is the drop quantity equal to the local item quantity? If it is, we'll do a branch, plug that in there like so. And if the value is true, that means it's our last one because there's only one. And I want to clear this array. So get set array element, and we'll leave the value 0. And let's get the index. Oh, wrong index. Get index, this one. And we'll split this to represent nothing and nothing. And next we'll have our another function called drop from inventory, which we'll create right now actually. So drop from inventory. Inside here, we want to know about our item ID. So let's put that in there. And we also want to know about our item quantity. And it does not let me do that for some reason. Item quantity. quantity. So let's just call it quantity. There we go. Change the item ID to name, and we'll leave that as is. Now we'll be running a for loop. So now our item quantity will do a subtract, and we're subtracting 1 because our array element or our array is 0 based and our for loop is not. And this will go into the last index. And that goes there. Next, we'll do a spawn actor from class. Now the class will get from here, and we have a handy function for that, get item data. If we break this open, break, we want the class, and we can hide everything else bar the sound effects. We also want this. For the spawn location, we also have a handy function called get drop location. And from the sound effects, let's do a break. We want the drop sound effect. So hide everything else and do play sound at location. And for the location, it's up to you if you want to do get drop location or get owner and get actor. I'll do it on get drop location. And I'm pretty much happy with this. So let's compile and let's head back to our previous function, remove from inventory, get this, and item ID is our item ID. And our item quantity is our item quantity. Next, let's go and see what happens if the drop quantity is not equals to our local item quantity. So next check will be, is our local quantity equal to 1? Let's get a branch, log that in here. And if it is, we're also setting everything to 0 because there's nothing left. And on the drop side, we'll do a quantity, we can say 1. And if it is not equal to 1 and it's not equal to the full stack, that means we're dropping multiple. So in order to facilitate that, we'll grab our update stack function. We'll pass in our index. We'll pass in our drop quantity. It's right there. And at the very end, I'll do this. And we can get our drop quantity as well here. And I've just noticed that I've made a mistake. This should be our drop quantity, like so. And this function is now complete. So let's compile and save. And in our item slider, I want to implement this. So on button drop, on clicked, we have our index handy, we have our item quantity handy, and we have our inventory component handy. So from here, we'll do remove from inventory. And let's connect all the values, index to index, and the quantity to the drop quantity. Now let's compile and save and give this a quick test. The play button, took 3 mushrooms, I ran some, put it here, and I drop. Oops, it's giving me a text instead of a name, and the number isn't really working. So let's go ahead and fix that. So let's head back into our item slider, and our text wasn't really working properly. So what did I do here? Drop, text drop, and I have, this is the wrong text. This should be text item quantity. Log that into there, log that into there as well. That should fix the text issue. So let's see if that works. And if I collect a cube or 2 and a mushroom, I want to drop just 1. That's all we have. So we drop, it drops. And if I want to drop my cubes, it also works. So that's fine. And there we go. Next, let's go ahead and finish off our item slider by giving it the cancel button. And on the end of this, we'll do remove from inventory or remove from parent. And we can also add this after we've removed from the inventory. So compile and save. And one final test to see if everything is working. If I take this, drop, and press cancel, it cancels. And if I want to drop 3, and I press the drop button, 3 drop. And I can pick them back up, move them around, split them. So that's all good. So this is it for the video. In the next episode, we'll be creating a hotbar. I hope you enjoyed. If you liked the video, leave a like. If you didn't, leave a dislike. And as always, happy developing.